Smith here for Arican Music Factory. Just going to show you and do some demos for this little new amp. It's a Mooer, or pronounced Mooer. It's a 15 watt practice amp. Very nice little thing, very cool, good construction, lovely finish on the thing. I'm going to go through some of the sounds in this. I'm going to try and record it with the microphone, as well as maybe record it direct as well, so you get a quality sound reproduction. Now I'll just tell you a few things about this amp before we actually try it out. So it's 15 watt practice amp, very sturdy, good construction, closed back, as you can see. It's got a little carry handle there if you've got small enough fingers to carry that thing. But it's very light, you know. I think it's probably around about 1 kilo or 2. Not very heavy at all. It's got a special 8-inch speaker. As you can see, the Mooer design logo on the top there. This is a pretty cool amp. Not only does it sound great, I've tried it just listening to it straight, and I've also tried it with headphones, because it's got a headphone jack on the back. It's also got an auxiliary in, so you can play music from your MP3 player or your phone or your computer or something straight in and mix it with your guitar sound, so you can play over the top of music. While we're on that subject, I'll show you later in the other videos, not only that, this is Bluetooth. So what that means is I can take my iPhone and or my phone or my Bluetooth music player, just find the Mooer amp on here. We've got a little Bluetooth button on here, just switch that on, and instead of going straight into the auxiliary socket, no cables, straight from your phone to the amp, so you can play music that's your background music to practice to or to play over the top of for learning a track. Really handy. That's a really nice feature. It works really well. I tried it out, and just scrolling through songs on my phone goes straight into the amp. Of course, I can plug into the amp with standard jack plug. Yeah, and we'll go through some of these some of the controls and features on the amp now. So that's the cool stuff, the really cool stuff, the sort of modern stuff and play along kind of thing. So we've got a standard input, standard 1/4 inch jack input there, and the controls underneath that we've got. So we have here we go. I don't know if you can see that okay. So we've got a gain control. We have a treble, mid and bass. And then we have a volume control at the end of that. You can see a little screen there, which is not switched on at the moment, but that's actually a little LED screen which shows you various modes of the amp, as well as the built-in tuner. So it's got a built-in tuner, which is really cool, which works very nicely. When the tuner's on, it mutes the amp, and you get your display on that little screen there. It also puts you into, there's 2 different modes that you can use this amp. One is called live, and the other one is preset. So that'll tell you whether you're in live or preset mode, and I'll explain what they are later. Okay, so what else we got on here? So we've got 3 primary effects modes here. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And you can switch them on or off. If you zero them out, they're off. First one is the modulation channel. So the modulation channel has got chorus, phaser, and vibrato on it. So basically you can dial up into chorus, and then if you want more chorus, you basically dial all the way through the chorus section. When you get to the end of the chorus section, it changes to phaser, and you got the same thing there, and you just dial up through the phaser as strong or as weak as you want on the phaser, and then the same with the vibrato or tremolo. And if you want it all off, you just switch it all right down to 0. Okay, that's the modulation. The delay has 3 sections to it as well. By the way, each of the delay and the modulation sections have got a little tap button there as well. M tap and D tap I don't know if you can see those. And you basically tap on those for the speed of your delay or your modulation according to the song. So you can have the oscillations of the effect match the rhythm of the song, which is a cool, very handy effect. A nice little touch there. Okay, so we have tape echo, we have standard delay, and we also have a digital delay there as well. The last one, the reverb channel, which again, if you switch it all the way down to 0 at 6 o'clock, you switch off the effect. But as you dial through the 3 sections, just the same, and you dial through the amount of that particular section. Okay, the first section is room delay, so you get a fairly tight, fairly sharp kickback kind of delay in there, and again the strength and intensity of that is dialed up just gradually with that knob there through that section. The second section is hall, which gives you a really long kind of hall type of reverb, which is very nice. It's a classic kind of effect, and you just dial that up as you wish. And then sort of a middle ground between room and hall is church, and that one basically has a lot of high frequency return on the reverb. You get a very long kind of reverb signal return as well. They all sound great. It depends on what it is that you're actually looking for. So, and remember the modulation and the delay, all of which work fine and they sound great. You have the tap buttons there for the frequency or the speed of those things. The third button there again is you can see that BT. Okay, so your third button is the Bluetooth. So if you just switch that on, you'll be able to discover this is the Mooer Hornet modeling amp, and I'll tell you why it's called modeling amp in a second. But you'll discover on your phone Mooer Hornet, and you just when you switch on your Bluetooth, and you can just go straight in with whatever soundtrack or whatever you've got on your phone. Okay, you could even, I guess you could even play YouTube videos or stream music, whichever you want, and put it straight through this little amp, and it sounds great. It sounds really good. The last button is the tuner. So you put the tuner on, and you've got the display there on that little LCD screen there, or LED screen. Just a standard chromatic tuner, which is pretty accurate and works well. Okay, so there are 2 modes to this thing. We've got a live and a preset mode. Now with live, you switch it on. I'll just show you the button there. Okay. With live, you just play the amp as you would normally play a normal amp. Okay, so you plug in the guitar, switch it on, select your settings, and whatever settings are on the knobs here, that's the sound you're going to get, which is standard amp function. However, you've also got the ability to save 9 presets in here. Okay, the reason why there's 9 is because this Mooer Hornet, this is a white one, there is a black one, and they're slightly different models. It's got slightly different features to them, or rather modeling amps on them. Now if you have a look on the front of this amp, you'll notice an old school kind of dial switch there, right? Which has got 9 settings coincidentally. Okay, very easy to select the one you want. I don't know if you can see the actual details in the writing there, but I'll go through this for you. So, using the amp, we've got the modeling, the electronic software-based modeling of several different types of amps. Okay, they're listed in the booklet, and if you get the black amp, not the white one, it's got a different list of amps. So the black ones seems to be more of a modern kind of amp selection, choosing high gain rectifier amps, Mesa Boogie kind of things, as well as the Marshalls and the Fenders and things like that. But this one, I picked this one because it's got all of those types of amps as well, from the Fenders and the Tweed kind of amps, and then Marshall. It starts off with a couple of clean settings in the amps. Okay, then we've got overdrive 1, 2, and 3. And this is basically taking you through, and again, you have a look in the list of specific amps that they're modeling here. They're reproducing the sound and response of those amps inside the software of this amp. Marshalls, and there are some Mooer boogies and things like that. And then you've got the high gain 1 and 2, so you're really cranking it out there. So we're going from traditional old tweed amps, maybe a 60s kind of amplifiers, going through as the amplifiers of the world sort of evolved through the Marshalls and the sort of louder, more overdriven kind of sounds, crunchy sounds. And then the modern high gain amps, the Mooer boogie rectifier type things. And then finally, this amp is a bit special because you've got 2 settings on there. One is for plugging in your bass, and the other one, acoustic guitar. So this is a electric guitar amp with effectively seven modeled amplifier types, and a bass amp and an acoustic guitar amp. Now if I plug my electric guitar into here and put it through to the acoustic sound, it sounds quite a bit like an acoustic guitar. So it's got a bit of a reverb kind of setting, and the EQing and everything and the gain settings are all according to what an acoustic guitar would typically sound like through a sort of a fairly neutral amplifier. But sounds great. So here we've got effectively 7 electric guitar amplifiers modeled very accurately within the sounds, plus a bass amp, plus an acoustic guitar amp, all with this nice little setup here. Very light, as you can see. Very solid though, nice. And the other feature, that's running it in live mode, so I can choose my amplifier and then go and dial in my settings accordingly to what I want. But you can also set it so that that's in live mode, and in preset mode, what I can do is for each of those 9 amplifier settings here, and I guess the black one is the same, you can choose a whole bunch of EQ settings here, gain settings, special effects like the phaser or the flanger or the reverbs, the delays, and you set those for that particular amplifier model. Say it's a Marshall JCM amp, just as a guess, say someone like that, so an overdrive kind of amp, and I set it to a certain setting. Now with the preset mode, I can record that just by holding that little preset button there. So every time I choose that particular amp setting on the front of the dial up amplifier types, all the settings will go back to that my preference for that particular amp. So if I want a clean amp sound with a fair bit of bass in it, a nice crystal kind of sound in the high-end EQ, and maybe a little bit of chorus and a long reverb, for instance, I could set all those up and record it for one of the clean amplifiers that's down here, 1 or 2. Now anytime I select that amplifier in preset mode, it'll reset all the settings to be just perfect as I liked it before. But then when I want to go to an overdrive amplifier, say the high gain amplifier number 1, I could crunch up all the gain, for instance. I can turn up the bass and the treble, turn down the mids, for instance, turn up the volume, take the reverb right down to a short, punchy kind of room reverb, take off all the effects, and maybe just have a big digital delay on there, so I could be great for a really good heavy rock or metal solo or something like that. And every time I choose that particular amp, when I'm in preset mode here, it'll set the whole settings back to that my preferred setting for that particular amp. And obviously with 9 different amplifiers here, or 7 electric guitars, acoustic guitar and a bass guitar amplifier, you've got an awful lot of settings that you can, and it's really good that you can choose from. But it's really good as maybe as a beginner or someone who's not that familiar with every type of amplifier there is and every kind of setting that there is in electric guitars for all the kinds of music that you might want to play, you can remember just say these 7 amplifiers, and then set each one that sounds perfect for you, for what you want to use it for, and then just dial each amplifier, and it will completely reset the whole amplifier settings to be perfect every time. You don't have to worry about resetting volume levels, gain levels, any of the effects chain, or the EQ or anything like that. Okay, so a really cool feature, that one. So you've basically, it's almost like a training amplifier as well, because you get used to gradually how to set up an amplifier EQ, gain, and effects and volume for different types of amps and different types of music as well. So it's sort of like a little tutor in a box as well, sort of. But it's a great little amplifier, solid build, excellent quality. Nothing bad about this. The finish and everything is really nice. The casing is solid, but it's quite light. It's quite light. You can sort of pick it up like that. It's not very heavy at all. It's got a little handle in the back, and as I say, you've got a headphones jack. You've got an auxiliary jack in, so you can plug in music, or it's got Bluetooth too. So if you've got a Bluetooth device with music on it, just switch it on. Find the Mooer Hornet amplifier on your listing, and it goes straight away. It works really well. So that's the Mooer Hornet modeling amplifier number 1, the white one, with 9 different amplifiers, of which 2 are a bass amp and an acoustic amp sound. Okay, really good, with a built-in tuner, MP3 player, I guess, all that kind of thing. Comes with its own power supply and the whole lot. So what we'll do is we'll plug this thing in and have a listen to what it can do. Again, it's good for a practice amp because it responds really well like a big traditional amplifier, and you can plug headphones in so you can practice silently as well. And again, playing your Bluetooth music or auxiliary in music, you can practice through the night, not upset your flatmates or the neighbors while you're learning songs, which is really good. And having had a listen to this thing, the flexibility and the range of sounds with all these modeling amplifiers is really excellent. These are available now from Arakan Music Factory. They have a shop in Shah Alam. They also have a Facebook site and a website. That's Arakan, Araykin Music Factory. Check them out. My name's Ivon Smith, and we'll be reviewing this with a sound check in a little while. Anything else about this thing? Nope, that's about it. Pretty good. We'll check it out soon. Thanks.